It seems like someone had lost their 50-50 in Genshin Impact because they are making Mihoyo paying for it. And to be honest, $20 million ain't a small amount, right? 好了，好是的 Ame Gakita 的 so obviously today the chat is about Genshin Impact and sorry for the love because it's just a joke to me at this point of time because someone must have their butt hurt after losing 50-50 in the recent patch because if someone can actually make Mihoyo pay for it, I'm really amazed that US government is able to do so. So what is the contest? Well, technically the FTC or Fair Trade Commission, a government in US, decided to sue Genshin Impact or the developer Mihoyo for trying to make children pay for the game, or in a way, violating their privacy law. Now, I'm not sure about misleading or the word whatsoever along the line, but the thing is, right, often more than not, it will just come down to one simple word: bad parenting. But then again, on all seriousness, we will talk about that in a while. It's actually more so that when I can throw tomato at someone, I will definitely throw tomato at someone, okay? It's just that as more as when the person deserves that tomato. Now, it's really one of the moments that we have to ask ourselves that the government had actually settled the case in something like out of court scenario because Mihoyo decided actually more so the Singapore-based company Chronosphere decided to say that hey, they decided to pay the 20 million because they can. Now that being said, is a lot of people need to understand in full detail is that what is the word Singapore-based? Is it not a Chinese company? Why is it a Singapore word? Well, just because some idiot in US government think that Singapore is part of China, think again, Singapore is Singapore, China is China. Don't go and lump Singapore into China. Just because that it's called Singapore based doesn't mean that you can't have any US based company or Chinese based company along the line. It's just that in Singapore based company, it just means that any company from any other country like China, US, or even like Russia can have a company in Singapore. That's the reason why it's called Singapore based. Now, that being said, it's really kind of amazed me that instead of fighting it, the company decided to say that they're going to settle it out of court because they say that in the government of US, they say that it is a violation. So in a way, I can understand that they decided to pay for it, and in a way, it is still under part of allegation because they settled it. It is not really like say that they did the fine. It's really kind of like they decided to pay but not really admitting to it, so it's kind of like in the gray area. Now we have to ask a second question: what is the US government going to do with the money? Are they going to use the money for themselves, or are they going to refund the money that they've been so-called stolen from people and give it back to the people? I highly doubt so. So, in all seriousness, it's really one of the moments that we have to sit down and ask ourselves that if the US government did not break down that what they're gonna do with that $20 million, yeah, you can actually kiss that money goodbye because it's going into the pocket of the US government. And as much as we hate to admit it, yeah, they're gonna take the money regardless of how we think about it. So, the issue on why the US decided to sue Mihoyo for the money, like there are so many other games that they can sue, they decided to just sue Genshin Impact. Can't be right. Yeah, it just showcased that even the US don't even sue their own company because there are some other game by US or the Western game that do the same kind of system and they never even like ban like those systems. Is it because that Mihoyo have apparently reached almost like 10 billion in marketing worth of globally? Maybe because when you kind of like aiming at the big fish, you always want that little bit of money. So in a way, I won't be like surprised if people tell me that US government is being greedy for money or they are just short on money funding. So all in all, it's really that is on a part of speculation on my end, but it's really one of the moment that you have to sit down and ask yourself, is it like worth going after a game? Because when they go after a game, if they don't go after any other game company, it is setting that they are just only after the funding, they are only after the money. So in a way, we can't really say that is it really worth it. But that being said, it's not a moment to just say that hey, we laugh at government itself and say that this is just a false alarm or whatsoever. In fact, the pity system within Genshin Impact has been so bad that I actually called it out long ago in 2021, almost 4 years ago. Now, understand that last time when I did talk about it, I did kind of talk about how bad the system was, how the so-called the loot box, or to be called the wishes, was actually kind of something that we always have to understand. Is really one of the things that is why I always said is always a problem. Now that being said, it's really one of the moments that sometimes when they do like one system pool or that system pool, the amount of money that a person have to go to fully build a character can cost a few $1,000s. Yes, a few $1,000s just for a game character, a character that you don't get to touch, you don't get to look. It's just a character that you used to play in a game. Now, costing up to almost $6,000 in US amount as underestimation, it is not an amount to be snobbed off. It is something that you have to understand. It is something that is excuse me, we have to like highlight. It is a problem. So the thing is, right, I did a 3-hour yap at the time, like legit 3 hours. So if you guys think that random chat is long, look at the very origin before random chat. It was a legit 3 hours video, okay, in 2021. That's how long I can yap, okay. Now, as much as I want to talk as much about that on a lot of issues, it's really one of the things that we have to raise the seriousness. For a responsible adult, if they know they are going to spend that amount of money, obviously you have to think twice because you're a responsible adult. There's in no way someone is going to spend that amount of money on a game character. If you spend like, let's say for example $100 or $200, then I think that's a fair share, which is the reason why you just go for the character at C0 or Constellation 0, and maybe if you want the weapon, just go for it, just one and that's all. But worst case scenario is often more than one when we call them the whale, or people who spend a lot of money in a game, because at the end of the day, $6,000 is really not a small amount for a person as well. But if the person that we are talking about is a young children, yeah, that's when we have to be very, very serious. And that's the reason why at the start I actually mentioned the word bad parenting. Now, young children, when you give them money, they don't understand the value of money. They don't understand how money is used. And also, more than not, when you think about it, right, the amount of money to spend on it is in small. Because to fully refine a character, the system is really so damn bad that sometimes when you get a character, when you lost 50-50, right, you can legit just turn your head back and just scream into the abyss. Because I lost a lot of 50-50 myself. It's happened quite a few times. It really shown in my stream. Like that other time when I lost the 50-50, it became a joke. Yes, it is a joke. That when people lost their 50-50, it's always a joke. But at the end of the day, when you do additional pool and whatnot, you can sometimes get into some sort of like the pity system where they call it that once you lost the first 50-50, you can get the second one to be the asset character. So in the way, it is a guaranteed pool. It's not like a fully gacha system where you keep losing again and again and again and again. It's not. They used to have that system where you really lost every single time, but because of that issue, they actually revamped and changed the system a few times. Which is the reason why there is something called for the weapon there is a path, which if you lose a few times you get the weapon. And for the character itself, there is something called if you lose 50-50, there is another system where within the 100% of the lose, you get additional 10% more of pulling for the character. So at the end of the day, as you guys can see on the screen, there is something called the so-called soft pity, hard pity in a way. So at the end of the day, it's really one of the things that the system has been revamped, but it doesn't undermine that people still spend a lot of money. And as I mentioned, children spending it. So in Singapore, there is a case about it where a young kid spent almost 20k in amount for a game character. A few game characters to be accept if they're gonna spend that amount of money. But then again, like I mentioned, the debt has to pay for it. But the good news for this whole ordeal is that the debt managed to get the money back. They managed to, the company was willing to refund the money. But it really begged the question, how the hell you give your daughter the ability to get to your card? See the problem? So it's really like as much as I love to make fun of the government, you sometimes have to sit down and ask yourself where went wrong. The government can just say that they can find the company for it, but at the end of the day, it's really bad the question like how is children able to get their hand on the money in the first place? Did they rob a bank, or do they actually go and steal the credit card of the parents? And then when that actually happens, you have to ask the parents, did they actually teach their own children the value of money, the issue on the money, and how money is always very important in social life and real life, as well as putting food on the table? So it's really one of the things that, like I mentioned when PC Gamer talk about it, it's really one of the things that I have to highlight in a very strong way. If one do not control their children's spending, then that is on the parents. Don't fully fall on the game or the children. While the children do have to hold some responsible for it, it's really one of the moments we have to ask ourselves, is it the company for it, or is it the children for, or is it the parenting not doing their job? As much as they have their own real life job, you have to understand that in parents, there's a reason why there are some people don't like to have kids nowadays, because if you have children spending money recklessly like that, yeah, I think I can understand why some people don't want to have children nowadays, you know what I mean? So it's really one of the things that sometimes when you spend money, it's like for adults spending on money, that's on them. But when the children are spending money, it's really not just on them as well, it's mostly on the parents. And it's really one of the things that sometimes you have to understand that spending money on game is fun and game, but reckless spending is something we have to prevent. And well, I won't side with the government on making it, because again, like I mentioned, $20 million ain't a small amount. The only question is, how is the government going to spend that money? Are they going to enrich themselves, or are they going to use the money to refund to those children or the parents who actually lost money? It's really one of the things that we have to sit down and ask. But at the end of the day, it's really one of the moments that when people are making fun of the government, you can't really say that, yeah, can I make fun of it? I'm gonna make fun of it anyway. So the thing is, right, at the end of the day is when you see a lot of cases like the FTC, like there's so many games that they can talk about. Even like 2 of the game is also under Mihoyo. They just decide, hey, no, we are aiming at Genshin because it's the bigger games out there. Even though when US themselves don't a lot of their so-called community is aimed from US itself, yeah, that seems to tell a lot of story, right? So at the end of the day, it's really one of bet the question, like if a culture tell you the chance of winning and even tell you the chance of guarantee the prize, and no one forces you to spend the money, then you have to bet the question, who is spending the money? If the parents aren't doing their job on controlling their children's spending, to me, I think the parents have to hold a lot of responsibility. There's a reason why there is a regulation that people have to follow. There is like the term and condition. But then again, what can Mihoyo do to improve on this system? Well, I think there is one simple way. It's basically ensure that whoever played the game had a like some sort of age verification to ensure that the person who playing the game is an adult and they know they are going to spend responsibility on the game. But if there is a moment where the young children is playing the game, then the parents have to step in, where they have to ensure that there is no amount of money is spent on the game. Or maybe if they want to give the young children maybe something like a Welkin or better pass, then I think that's a fair share, because like 20 bucks around the line in small for the young children, but at least it's something that a parents can afford out of the wallet. Like if I have children, if they want to spend money like $20 on a battle pass and the Welkin, or maybe like some sort of like money free gift along the line, yeah, I think that's fine, because $20 is just that I need to make sure the children that is going to play the game understand that they are going to work for it, they're going to get good grade, they're going to do at least some house chores to ensure that they get their money worth. But at the end of the day, it's just my speculative thought, it's just a random chat. Do you think that the US government should actually step in to so-called make the claim that the company should be fined for it, or do you think that they are just greedy for money? Who knows? I mean, like, as much as I love to ask that what are they going to do with the money, it's really one of the hardest moments we have to ask, the harder question we have to, that may not even get an answer in the first place, is the money going somewhere? Don't know. But it's really one of the things that sometimes we have to ask ourselves, where is the money going to be at, as well as that is Genshin Impact going to improve on the PT system. To me, I think that number one step that Mihoyo have to do is ensure that no children spend money on the game unless it's under parent supervision. If not, they will have to do something to the PT system to ensure that people aren't getting like a moment of cry or whatever. Because a lot of time when I play Mihoyo game, I have to say this, anyone who saw me putting for any game character in Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail or Zenless Zone Zero is always very, very bad. There are times when I'm having a good pull, but it doesn't mean all the time, okay? There are times when I actually cry over it. But at the end of the day, it's really hard. So if you have your own opinion about the system itself, do you think that Mihoyo have to change, or do you think that the government have the right to step in? Write in the comment section below, we can discuss it further. If not, if you do agree with me and you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more random chat where I talk about stuff that sometimes makes sense, doesn't make sense, or totally random at time when if I can poke fun at the government, I will. But please don't. Have a nice day or night. Bye.